Hey guys, welcome to the very first episode of Is It Possible? I'm Danny. You may know me from TikTok where I make some pretty unusual pasta dishes. Well, I now have my own YouTube show, so I promise things are gonna get even weirder. Each episode, I'm gonna take an unconventional ingredient and try to turn it into fresh pasta. Then I'm gonna make a sauce to go along with the fresh pasta. For the very first episode, I'm going to take a kid's meal, the hamburger, the french fries, everything, and try to turn it into fresh pasta. So follow along and let's see, is it possible? Fresh pasta is basically flour and eggs. So the bun is already mostly flour. I feel like I could put the french fries in there. You think of like a potato gnocchi has potatoes in it, so it's not too weird to make a pasta dough with potatoes. And then for the actual hamburger, I'm gonna blend that up and use that as a filling to try to make some sort of ravioli. All right, so I'm going to put the hamburger bun and put the french fries here in my little toaster oven. So now our hamburger buns are a little crispy. There's still some ketchup on there, that's okay. I'm just gonna throw the burger buns in here. I'm gonna throw the french fries in here. Just pour this into here. Beautiful. It's a nice breadcrumb consistency. Now with any fresh pasta dough, the basic ratio is you want 100 grams of flour for every egg. So 1 egg for 100 grams of flour. I'm gonna add a little bit more flour to this so that we have enough for a nice batch of dough. Here's a little secret if you wanna make fresh pasta at home. You can make fresh pasta in a food processor. So I'm gonna put this right back in the food processor with the flour. And then I'm gonna crack 2 eggs right in here. If you are making pasta dough at home, the biggest issue is that it oftentimes turns out too wet and it gets kind of gluey. You go to cook your pasta, it all like clumps together. It's a big old mess. That just means you need to add a little bit more flour. Your pasta dough should not be sticky. It's not like a bread dough. It should be pretty dry. So this is a little bit sticky. I mean, this is turning into a dough, but it needs a little bit more flour. It's gonna be too messy. So let me put a little bit more flour in. We'll run it again. And now it's a little bit too dry, so I'm gonna add a little bit of water. And this is what happens when you make fresh pasta to get the consistency just right. If you're using a food processor, the dough will start to turn into these little pebbles, and we need to knead that all together into one cohesive ball of dough. But all right, so I've got my hamburger, and I'm gonna throw the pickle in there too. And then I'm gonna add some ricotta cheese. All right, we've got some gray looking meat mixture. Okay, I'm gonna scoop this into a pastry bag, which we'll use to add the filling to the ravioli. All right, so we've got a little bag of a hamburger ravioli filling ready to go. All right, so I think we have let the pasta rest long enough. Let's take a look. Beautiful, we have a beautiful ball of pasta dough here. I'm gonna get my pasta machine set up and we're gonna try to roll it out. Hopefully it doesn't all crumble as we roll it out. And then once we roll it out, we'll be able to cut it into our ravioli shape. Beautiful, look at this dough. All right, we got one hole in it because there was a chunk of a hamburger bun, but hey, this is looking beautiful. So we're gonna be making a triangle ravioli today. It's very simple shape. You can actually make this at home with regular pasta dough, but this is an easy way to get a nice ravioli shape. It looks pretty cool. People always ask me how I got started making pasta, and I started posting pictures and videos of myself making fresh pasta, just starting with traditional recipes, learning process, practicing different shapes. You're really just from the beginning stages. After that, social media really pushed me to be more creative. People would say, can you try this shape? Can you try that color? So I started introducing vegetables and spices and herbs into the dough to make different colors. I started using unconventional ingredients. I started making patterns and shapes, and it all kind of exploded to where now I'm making pasta out of hamburgers and french fries. Not something I ever thought I'd be doing back during my lawyer days. But I am just cutting this dough into rough squares. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm gonna pipe in a big plot of filling right in the center. I'm gonna fold them in half, and then I'm gonna use kind of that little crinkly part of my knife here to give it a cool edge. All right, so now we have our pasta. It is possible. We made a pasta out of a fast food kids meal, but now we need a sauce. And I'm gonna show you a sauce that you can make at home with just regular box of pasta. You don't have to go do all this. You don't have to get the kids a meal. This is a very delicious, quick and easy cherry tomato sauce. It's one that I make all the time, especially now that the weather's getting nicer. Cherry tomatoes are everywhere. You can make this in 15, 20 minutes. Same time it takes you to boil the water and cook the pasta, you can make a sauce and have it ready to go. And it's summery, it's bright, it's a tomato sauce, but it's a little bit different than a regular marinara sauce. You can already see that the tomatoes are starting to burst, the skin is kind of shriveling, so that's a good sign. Like I said, it does not take very long. Once the water boils for the pasta, we'll get that going and then we'll be able to mix it all together. All right, I can hear the water boiling back there, so I'm gonna take our beautiful fast food ravioli, throw it in the pot. Now when you're cooking pasta, regular pasta, box of pasta, fresh pasta, you always wanna make sure to use salty water. Should be almost as salty as the ocean. Meanwhile, this sauce is starting to come together and then we're gonna start mashing it. You can either mash it a ton or kind of leave it a little chunky, but at the very least, you should mash the garlic so you don't take a bite into a big clove of garlic. Take out the thyme because you don't want to bite into a big chunk of leaves. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and add about half a cup of grated Pecorino Romano cheese. And you can use Pecorino Romano or Parmesan cheese. You know, they're both similar grated cheese. It just depends on your flavor preference. I'm gonna add a little bit of pasta water here to help smooth it together. So I just add this in here. And then I'm gonna add my fresh basil. And like I said, we're adding the fresh basil at the end to keep it nice and fresh, really get a lot of good basil flavor in there. All right, I'm gonna add the ravioli right to our sauce, kind of finish cooking them a little bit in the sauce. And I'm getting a little bit more of the pasta water in there, which will help the sauce and the pasta all come together. Honestly, if you didn't know this was made out of French fries and hamburgers, there's no way you could tell. It looks pretty good. Obviously, I've not bitten into it yet, but I have a feeling that this is gonna turn out okay. I say that now and then I bite into it and it's just like hamburger flavor. But right now it's looking pretty good. All right, here comes the moment of truth. All right, let's go here. All right, here we go. Oh my God. It really tastes like a fast food hamburger. You can really taste the meat inside. I have to say that the dough itself, you don't taste the French fries, you don't taste the buns, but there's a strong flavor of hamburger with even a little bit of the dill or the pickle flavor coming through. They're not bad though. It's a little weird. It's a little weird to be eating pasta but be tasting a fast food hamburger, but I don't hate it. And the sauce is good. So this sauce would be great with the regular pasta, even without the hamburgers inside. I gotta say we did it. Hey, this didn't turn out half bad.